Good morning, everybody. Today we're gonna do section 10, topic 6, which it's on tangent lines, secants, and chords. And let me take you to what we're gonna learn today. And today what we're gonna learn is about perpendicular to a chord theorem. And what this is says if the diameter of a circle is perpendicular. Remember, the perpendicular is if it's 90 degrees, perpendicular to a chord. And remember that a chord is PR. PR is a chord. The diameter in this case is the line that's going through the middle. So if the diameter is, or a radius, it could also be a radius, is perpendicular to a chord, then what do we know? We know that the diameter bisects the chord. The word bisects, that means it cuts it in half. Okay, it's half. So that means that this chord will be cut in half. So notice we have the diameter, we have the chord. They show you that it's perpendicular, that's 90 degrees. That means that from P to E and from E to R, they are the same length, okay? So to give you an example, if PE is 4, then that means that from E to R, it will be 4 also, okay? It's the same length. The whole length from P to R, it will be 8, okay? You will add those two pieces. So let's get to this problem number 2 here. It says determine the radius of the circle shown below. Notice they're showing you that you have, which they don't show you that it's the whole radius, but they show you that this piece coming from the center is perpendicular to the chord. Notice they show you it's perpendicular. So because the perpendicular chord theorem, what do we know is that this piece and this piece of the chord, they're equal to each other. Notice the whole thing is 80, so that means that this piece right here is 40. And I also know that this piece right here is 40 inches. Okay, now what can we make out of this? They're asking you in this case to find the radius. Well, what is the radius? The radius is from the center to the outside of the circle. So if I go ahead and draw a line, a radius that connects where the chord is, notice what I get is a right triangle that looks like this. It's a right triangle. Okay, they tell you that this side right here, the little piece, is 9. And we know that the bottom part is 40 because it's 80 divided by 2. Okay. So what they're asking you is for the radius. Well, the radius in this case, it becomes the longest side of the right triangle. And as you know, how do we find a missing side? You're going to use a square. Okay. A square plus b square is equal to c squared. You're going to use Pythagorean theorem. And in this case, notice the longest side is what's missing. So it's going to be 9 square plus 40 square. Okay. So you're going to do, in this case, 9 square is 81 plus 4 times 4 is 16. So that will be 1600. Okay. So which means that we get 1681 if you add it all together. And then you do the square root. Okay, so you will do the square root of 1681, which in this case, it would be 41. 41. Okay, so right here, the radius, the length is 41. That's how you were to find it. Okay, so you got to use Pythagorean theorem to find that. Then we have another chord that is called chord distance to center theorem. It says if congruent circles or the same circle, chords are congruent if only if they are equal distance from the center. So basically what this is saying is that we have two chords. We have chord PO and we have chord EW. And if the distance from the center to the chord, if this distance right here, US, is the same as UR, then that means that those two chords are congruent. So if I tell you that this chord is 20 centimeters, then that means this chord is 20 centimeter. And that will be because the distance from the center to the chord is equidistant, meaning the same length. Okay, so notice here they're telling you that these two chords are equidistant. Notice they give you 15, so that means that this x will be equal to 15. All right. So now let me take you to the classwork just to help you out here a little bit. And be very careful. There's only 4 questions. Make sure you read it carefully. Number 1 says calculate the value of P if O is the center of the circle. So they give you that from C to E is 40 millimeters. Notice they're giving you that this radius, this line is perpendicular to the chord. So that means that this chord and this chord are equal to each other. Okay, and notice they give you that from C to E is 40. So I'm going to leave it like that. I mean, I cannot give you the answer, but I just pretty much gave you the answer. Okay, for number 2, notice they're showing you again that from O to G is perpendicular. Again, then we know that this segment and this segment are equal to each other. They give you that from F to H, the whole piece is 60. So you have to figure out what is from F to G. Okay. Notice they give you from O to G is 40. And they want you to calculate the value of Q. The value of Q, notice Q, what represents from O to A, which is, this is Q right here, is the radius. So how you're going to do that is you can draw a line, the same thing, a radius to point F, and you make your right triangle. Okay, so you're going to have your right triangle that looks like that. Again, you need to find this side right here, and then you find out what Q is, which is the radius. The same way I just showed you on the previously on the worksheet. Okay, so let's go to the next one. And the next one, they give you that OT. From O to T is 9. Okay, so that's 9. RS, so from R to S, which is the whole thing, is 18. So the whole line is 18. Again, remember that OT, what this is doing is splitting this segment, this 2 segment in half. So you have to get half of 18. And then they ask you what is from O to R. So from O to R is this right here. So again, same thing as the other one. You're going to have a right triangle. Okay, you're looking for the radius. This is 9, and then you got to find this piece right here since the whole thing is 18. And then you go ahead and find out what the radius would be. Okay, plain and simple. And the last one says calculate the value of S. S is, again, is the radius. Okay, notice they already tell you that, let me see, round to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we know that this is perpendicular. This is 30. We have S that is right here. And what we have now, this one here is a little bit more complicated because if you look from O to Q, from O to Q is the radius, and in this case we don't know how big is this piece right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put X. I'm gonna put X, and I'm gonna show you how to set this one up. Okay, because this one is a little bit more difficult. So if you look at it, and I'm gonna draw the triangle here. So we know that the bottom part is 30. They want us to find S, and we know that um, from O to Q is the same thing as S. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the S out. Since I label this X, notice the whole piece represents it represents S, which is the radius. The radius. So that will be this side. So this will be 20 plus X, because if you add 20 plus X, which is the little piece, okay? And then this side right here, notice it represents X. So this is X right here. Now, what are we going to do here? We're going to use A squared plus B squared equals C squared, okay? Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to have, notice we have X, so I'm going to use X squared plus 30 squared. It's equal to, and in this case, this is where it's a little bit more difficult, which is 20 plus X. And this one is square, okay? So if I square that, and I'm going to show you in a second. So here we're going to have X squared plus 900. It's equal to, now we're going to square everything. We're going to square the 20, right? So we're going to do, this is the same thing as, this is multiplying binomial. This is the same thing as 20 plus X times 20 plus X 2 times. Okay, so if I multiply 20 times 20, that's 400. If I multiply 20 times X, that will be 20X. Okay, then if I multiply, so I'm done with the 20. Now I'm going to do the X. X times 20, that's 20X. Okay, and then if I do X times X, that will be X squared. X squared. There you go. So now we're going to do X squared plus 900. It's equal to 400. And I'm going to combine the 20x plus 20x, which is equal to 40x. And then plus x squared. Okay, so now if you subtract x squared from both sides, take away x squared, they're going to cancel out. They cancel out. So what you're going to have left is going to be, and I'm going to write it over here, it will be 900. 900, it's equal to 400 plus 40x. Okay, so now in this case, they're asking you to calculate the value of S. S will be the whole length, right? The whole piece. And the whole piece, again, is 20 plus X. So you're going to add 20 plus whatever X is. I'm going to leave it here for you. Notice I did all the hard part, where what you have to do is you have to subtract 400 and then divide it by 4, and that will give you X. Okay, that will give you X. So whatever you get for X, you're going to go ahead and add 20 to that. And once you add the 20, then that will be the value of S, which is the radius in this case. Okay, so go ahead and do that. And that will be it.